All right, let's dive into something pretty intense today. We're going to break down Deuteronomy chapter 20, but I want you to forget you're listening to an explainer. Instead, imagine you're a soldier thousands of years ago and you're getting your pre-battle briefing. These are the ancient rules of war, straight from the source. So, picture this. You're standing on a hill, the sun is just starting to bake the dust around you. You look down into the valley and your stomach just drops. The enemy army stretches out as far as you can see. It's a sea of bronze and iron. You can hear the snorting of horses, the rumble of chariots, and there are so many of them. They easily outnumber you. You can feel the fear in the air. So, what's the first command? Before anyone talks strategy, before a single arrow is knocked, the first part of the briefing is all about psychology. It's about tackling that giant enemy in your head, fear. This is the divine pep talk. Okay, verse 1. As you're staring at that terrifying army, the command is to immediately bring up a different image in your mind, a memory. Picture the Red Sea, split in two with massive walls of water on either side. You're being told to replace the picture of what's in front of you with a picture of what's behind you, an impossible rescue. The message is clear. Remember who is on your side. Now verse 2, the noise of the camp, the sharpening of swords, the nervous chatter, it all just stops. A hush falls over everyone, because a single man, the priest, is walking to the front of the lines. He's not a general holding a spear, he's a spiritual leader, and when he steps forward, everybody listens. And here it is, verses 3 and 4. This is the heart of the message. The priest's voice rings out, and it's not a suggestion, it's a command. Do not be afraid. But then he gives the reason why. It's because God isn't just watching from a distance, he's going with you to fight for you. It's like you're supposed to visualize this invisible force, this divine shield, wrapping around the entire army. All right, so the pep talk is done. You're probably expecting the horn to sound for the charge, right? But then something totally unexpected happens. The officers step forward. But they're not there to yell, charge. They're about to start sending people home. So get this, there are 4 very specific categories of soldiers who are about to be honorably discharged right here on the battlefield. We're talking about the guy who just built a house, the one who planted a vineyard, the guy who just got engaged, and the one who's just plain scared. Verse 5, the officer calls out, anyone here just built a new house but hasn't lived in it yet? Imagine you're that guy. You can picture it perfectly in your mind. The walls you built, the roof you laid, it's your future. And you're being commanded to go back and actually live it. Next up, verse 6. Who just planted a vineyard and hasn't tasted the fruit? Again, picture the farmer in the ranks. He can see the rows of young vines. He can almost taste that first cup of wine. That's his legacy, his family's future. And the army is telling him, go home. Make sure that legacy happens. Then comes verse 7. This one is all about family. Is there any man here who is engaged to be married? A young soldier hears that, and the face of his fiancée just flashes in his mind. He was ready to die, and now he's being ordered to go home and start his family. It's an amazing statement about how important new life and new beginnings are. And now, verse 8, the last exemption. This one is fascinating. The officer asks who is fearful and faint-hearted. But look at the reason why they're sent home. It's not to shame them. It's because fear is seen as contagious, like a virus that could spread and weaken everyone else's resolve. Sending him home is actually a strategic move to protect the whole army. Verse 9 shows us what happens next. The ranks are smaller now, for sure. But think about who's left. It's a core group of soldiers who are 100% focused, 100% committed. And it's only after this filtering process that the final command structure is put in place. Captains are appointed to lead this dedicated fighting force. So the army is now spiritually psyched up, and it's been refined down to the most committed fighters. Now we get to the actual rules of engagement. And this is critical. There are 2 completely different sets of rules. First, let's look at the rules for cities that are far away. Verse 10, check this out. The very first move is not an attack. The first thing you have to do is offer peace. I want you to picture a lone messenger walking up to the massive gates of a city, holding a scroll, not a sword. By law, diplomacy comes first. So, verse 11, what happens if they accept? Imagine the giant gates creaking open. There's no battle. Instead, the city becomes a subject state. They'll pay taxes, they'll serve, but their lives are spared, and their city is left standing. It's a win through negotiation, not annihilation. But of course, there's verse 12. What if they say no? The gates stay barred. Archers appear on the battlements. The offer has been rejected. The response isn't an immediate, all-out assault. It's a siege. Picture the armies surrounding the city, cutting off its supplies. This is now a war of attrition. Verses 13 and 14 lay out the grim consequences when that siege is finally won. When the city falls, the orders are precise and brutal. Every man who fought against them is to be killed. But the women, the children, the animals, and all the city's wealth, that's all considered spoils of war, to be taken by the victors. And then verse 15 drops a really important clarification. It's like the briefing officer is pointing on a map. He's saying, look, these rules we just went over, the offer of peace, the siege, the plunder, this is our foreign policy. This is for cities way out there. This does not apply to the towns in the land we are about to enter. And that brings us to this dramatic shift. This is the turning point in the briefing. Everything we just learned about distant cities is on one side. But for the cities inside the Promised Land, the cities of inheritance, the playbook is about to be completely rewritten. Verses 16 through 18 are stark. There's no way around it. For these specific cities, there is no offer of peace. The command is for total destruction. Let nothing that breathes remain alive. The text gives its own reason. It's presented as a form of spiritual quarantine, to completely remove the influence of their religious practices, so they don't corrupt the nation of Israel. Okay, we've gone from the soldier's heart to family exemptions to two very different rules of war. After all of that intensity about human life, the briefing ends with one final and really surprising instruction. It's not about people at all. It's about trees. Here we are, verses 19 and 20, the final rule. You're laying siege to a city. You need wood for your siege engines. Picture a soldier, axe in hand, ready to chop down a tree. But he has to stop and identify it first. Is it a fruit tree? An olive tree? If it provides food, he is forbidden from cutting it down. The reason given is simple and profound. The tree of the field is man's food. Even in the middle of a brutal war, this source of life must be protected. So that's the briefing. It's an ancient code that touches on psychology, family values, diplomacy, and even environmental conservation. And it's filled with this tension between mercy, harsh justice, and total destruction. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Which of these ancient principles are we still wrestling with when we talk about the rules of war today?